Welcome back to Bizarre Bureau. You've all seen Stranger Things, right? The Upside Down 11, the secret government labs. But what if I told you the true story is even stranger? What if the terrifying events of Hawkins, Indiana, were inspired by real declassified government experiments? Deep beneath the surface of a sleepy Long Island town, at an abandoned Air Force station, a shadow project was underway. A project to break the laws of physics, to travel through time, and to weaponize the human mind. This is the story of the Montauk Project, the real-life Stranger Things. The story begins at Camp Hero, a decommissioned Air Force base in Montauk, New York. Officially, it was closed down in 1969, but according to whistleblowers, something else started up. Deep underground, in a hidden facility, the government allegedly continued its research from the infamous Philadelphia experiment, the supposed 1943 experiment that made a U.S. Navy destroyer invisible, with horrifying consequences for its crew. The goal? To master not just invisibility, but psychological warfare and even time travel. The lead-up to these claims is a tangled web of conspiracy and alleged government cover-ups, starting with a man named Preston Nichols. Nichols, an electrical engineer, claimed to recover repressed memories of his time working at the secret Montauk facility. He published a series of books, starting with the Montauk Project, Experiments in Time, co-authored with Peter Moon. According to Nichols, he worked on a device known as the Montauk Chair. This wasn't just any chair. It was an advanced piece of psychic technology, allegedly powered by alien technology, designed to amplify a psychic's mental abilities. Researchers would strap a psychic subject into the chair, and whatever the subject visualized in their mind could be manifested into physical reality. Think about that for a second. The ability to create matter out of thought. The project allegedly started with simple things. The psychic would think of a chair, and a chair would appear in the room. Then they moved on to more complex manifestations. But the researchers, driven by a thirst for power, wanted to push the boundaries even further. They wanted to see if they could manipulate not just space, but time itself. This is where the story takes a turn from strange to utterly terrifying. Using the Montauk Chair, the project leaders supposedly managed to open up time portals. They could create swirling vortexes leading to any point in history or the future. At first, they sent probes through, but soon, they began sending people. This is where we meet Al Bielek, another key figure in the Montauk legend. Bielek claimed he was one of two brothers who survived the disastrous Philadelphia experiment in 1943 by jumping off the ship. Instead of landing in the water, he claimed they were thrown forward in time, right into the middle of the Montauk Project in 1983. According to Bielek, he and his brother were then used in the time travel experiments. The project leaders, he said, were reckless. They opened portals to different eras, sometimes just to observe, but other times to interfere. He even claimed they sent teams back to alter key historical events. But the most chilling part of his story involves the Montauk Boys. The project allegedly needed young, impressionable subjects whose psychic abilities were still developing. So, they began kidnapping runaway and homeless boys from nearby towns. These boys were subjected to intense psychological conditioning and trauma to awaken their psychic potential before being used in the chair or sent through the portals. Many, it is claimed, never returned. The similarities to Stranger Things are uncanny, aren't they? A secret government lab, psychic children being experimented on, and portals to other dimensions. The character 11, with her psychokinetic abilities and traumatic past in a government facility, seems to be a direct reflection of the stories told about the Montauk Boys. The Upside Down itself bears a striking resemblance to the chaotic, monstrous dimensions the Montauk psychics supposedly opened. So, how did it all end? According to the legend, the project grew too powerful and too unstable to control. On August 12, 1983, exactly 40 years to the day after the Philadelphia experiment, the final failed. Catastrophic experiment took place. A psychic in the chair was instructed to let his mind run wild, to unleash his subconscious. He manifested a terrifying, beast-like monster from his own ID. The beast from the ID, as it's called, materialized on the base and began wreaking havoc. It was a creature of pure psychic energy, and it was unstoppable. Panic ensued. The creature was a physical manifestation of the psychic's deepest fears and rage. Realizing they had crossed the line and created something they couldn't control, the project leaders made a desperate decision. They had to shut it down, completely and permanently. According to Preston Nichols, he and others on the inside realized the only way to stop the monster was to destroy the equipment that was keeping it manifested. They smashed the transmitters, cut the power, and destroyed the Montauk chair. As the machinery broke apart, the time portal collapsed, and the monster from the eye vanished. The project was over. To cover their tracks, the personnel had their memories wiped, and the lower levels of the base were allegedly filled with concrete. So, what are we to make of all this? Is it the biggest government conspiracy ever exposed? Or is it simply a fantastic work of fiction? Skeptics point out that there's no hard physical evidence to support these claims. No declassified documents mention the Montauk chair or time travel experiments. The stories come entirely from the accounts of a few individuals like Preston Nichols and Al Bielek, whose tales are full of inconsistencies and have changed over the years. Camp Hero is now a state park, and while some of the old radar towers and bunkers remain, there's no official proof of a sprawling underground complex. However, the allure of the Montauk Project persists. The story taps into our deep-seated distrust of government secrecy and our fascination with the unknown. The sheer detail and conviction with which the whistleblowers tell their stories are compelling. Could there be a grain of truth hidden beneath the layers of myth? Perhaps there was a secret psychological warfare program at Camp Hero, and the more fantastical elements of time travel and monsters were added later, either through deliberate fabrication or distorted memories. The Duffer Brothers, creators of Stranger Things, have even stated that their original pitch for the show was titled Montauk and was based directly on these conspiracy theories. Ultimately, the Montauk Project remains one of modern history's greatest enigmas. It's a chilling narrative that blends science fiction with plausible government overreach. It forces us to ask uncomfortable questions about the limits of science and the secrets those in power might be willing to keep. Fact or fiction, the legend of Montauk serves as a powerful cautionary tale, a reminder that sometimes the strangest things aren't just on our screens. They might be rooted in a reality far more bizarre than we can imagine. What do you think? Was the Montauk Project a real terrifying chapter in secret government research? Or is it just a campfire story that inspired a hit TV show? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for joining me at the Bizarre Bureau. If you enjoyed this dive into the unknown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an investigation. Stay curious, and see you next time.